In her excellent publication, Ancient Instruments of Western Asia in the British Museum, Joan Rimmer described the fragment of a situla from Tepe Guyan near Nihawand in western Iran. She thought the scene was impossible to identify because of the limited size of the fragment showing, she wrote, 2 seated and 2 standing figures. However, we see the 4 of them standing as there is no evidence of stools. All stand at the same height, which they would not, should 2 of them had been sitting. There is 1 string instrumentalist and a percussionist. 2 figures standing behind the musicians are seen clapping their hands. All 4 wear similar robes and headdresses. It is not possible to identify their gender. This fragment is dated to the 3rd dynasty of Ur and would have been made around 2200 to 2100 years BCE. Marcel Duching-Willman dated it from about 2200 years BCE. However, an early to mid-2nd millennium period has been advanced on the basis of a pottery parallel found at a grave near Tepe Guyan. Then Roya Mahboubian attracted my attention to another situla in her collection, which appears not only to be from the same workshop as the fragment in the British Museum, but of which would be a copy with. However, variations in the depiction and function of some of the figures. In both items, the instrument to the left is a square drum probably known as Akkadian Adapu, for reasons explored below. It is a Sumerian loanword. It is also known from a lexical text as a copper adapu, which suggests that its soundboard or head would initially have been made from a copper sheet. However, the Arabic duf, a Moroccan square drum, consists in a square wooden frame with leather tightly stretched on each side. The adapu duf survived with the Hebrew tof and the Hindi dufti, and in other languages. According to an Arabian tradition, the duf had been invented by Tubal, the legendary coppersmith, perhaps from Sumerian Bad Tibira, meaning wall of the copper workers. According to the Kitab al-Aghani, Tuwais was the first musician known under Islam as using the square duf drum for only accompaniment of his singing. The harp represented to the right of the adapu duf player is only known to the Elamite culture. It is an oblong instrument fitted with a sturdy console and with about 6 strings. It has an added protuberance to the underside of its console, which might have been used as a foot on which to rest the instrument when the musician played sitting. However, the foot of the instrument is not resting on the ground, which suggests that when the musician played it standing, a shoulder strap would have held it in a playing position. On the other side of the situla, 2 seated dignitaries are drinking what was probably beer, which they sipped from long canes out of a large vessel sitting on a stand, perhaps the Sumerian gakule. Above the drinking vessel floats the disk symbol of the sun god Dingir, striated with 4 lines on each cardinal point and resting on a crescent. This symbol was very common throughout the ancient Near East, as attested on seals from the Sargonic Empire and from the age of Hammurabi and later. Such scenes with music, dancing, and drinking are well recorded in the ancient Near East. Stylistically, the scenes depicted on these situlae are typical of Elamite art. The headdresses, robes, and the treatment of faces are unique to that culture. Additionally to the identification of 2 distinctive Elamite harps, their design and organology reinforces the view that the influence Elam absorbed from neighboring cultures only remained superficially brushed over a much deeper ethnocentric identity which not only surfaced through aesthetics, but also by means of isolate linguistic identities. Thank you very much for your attention.